Hello everyone, Brachiosaurus Studio 7 here, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 11 of the Nerf Archives. The show where we take a look at all different types of blasters, whether it's different ammo types, series, variations, anything, we will take a look at it. And today we are taking a look at my favorite Vortex blaster. That's right, the Nerf Vortex Vigilon. This thing is absolutely amazing and I cannot wait to talk about it. Let's get started. The Vigilon came out back in 2010, and it was, I believe, in the first official release of Vortex, and this was kind of the sidearm of Vortex blasters. Vortex was basically rival for its time. It was amazing. It shot farther than any other Nerf blaster at the time. It was just absolutely amazing. And their blaster designs were some of the best in the entirety of Nerf. There are quite a few variants of the Vigilon, more than you would think. There is, of course, this version, the green and mostly orange version. I still call it the green version, even though it's 70% orange. Then there is, of course, the Sonnet green version, which is really cool. And then there's a white version, like a white, kind of like whiteout, I guess. It wasn't officially called whiteout, but it's kind of like whiteout. And then there's the kind of reshell or the reboot of the Vortex Vigilon, and it was basically just a Target exclusive, and it had these really cool blue and green colors. That's probably my favorite variant. But what makes this my favorite Vortex blaster? Well, it operates in a very, very cool way in a unique system for an internal mag. Instead of loading from the top, which I guess would have been cool, they have this thing where you flick a switch, which is on both sides, and it opens the magwell. Not magwell, it opens the mag. And you can actually click it down, and you have all of this room to put Vortex rounds in there. And when you click it down, I believe you can put extra one in there. So it's really handy for just loading, and it's super easy. It's like one of the easiest ways to load because you literally have it on the side. Now for people who, lefties, they're probably not going to like this as much because you can't load it as fast on this side when you're holding it with your left hand. Oh, I spilled my Vortex discs. But you can load about 6 rounds in here when you have the thing clicked down. And then you push it up and prime it, and you can load a whole 7th round. So technically, if you really want to get technical, you can hold 7 rounds in this thing. And it operates pretty simple. You just kind of prime it back, and it has this well, mine's kind of messed up, but it has this auto return feature, which is really cool. And I think the prime return is my favorite feature, and that's why I like this so much, because you can rattle off shots, and when you run out, it won't let you prime it, which is actually a good thing in my opinion, because that means no dry firing, which is really cool. There's also an unjamming button, so if you get a Vortex disc jammed and it won't come out, you just kind of flick this and it'll just, hit me. It'll just fall out. I had a cup there and my hand just hit it. But the Vortex disc will just kind of launch out. There's a tack rail on the top, and it has a really, really solid grip. I mean, this might be one of my favorite grips of all time. It's absolute perfection. Not too small, not too big. Perfect, or like perfectly oriented for a pistol. It doesn't feel front heavy. It doesn't feel awkward like the Strife or the Magnus does, because those grips are kind of just straight. The slight angle and the way it's designed makes this feel like an actual pistol. It is somewhat bulky to be holstered, but you can easily sling this thing. There's a really nice, nifty little sling mount right there that's pretty much compatible with any sling because it's so small. But what can this blaster offer us today in the hobby? Well, sadly, Vortex has been kind of outdated. I hate that it is. I really don't want to say that it is, but that's the truth. Now, that doesn't mean Vortex isn't practical. No, it's insanely practical. Actually, it's one of the most practical ammo types, and it might be my favorite. So why is it not as relevant? Well, mainly because Nerf stopped making Vortex. And they stopped relatively quickly, which means the ammo wasn't in production for a long time. Like, you can't go to the store and buy new Vortex rounds like you could with Mega or standard darts. And that puts a huge damper on using Vortex, because you have to pay money, and quite a bit of money, to get a substantial amount of Vortex discs where you can compensate if someone steals them. Because guess what? If you use this in a public game, someone's going to steal them. Oh yeah. There are other options though. You can get knockoff Vortex discs. They're not as accurate, but they're still good enough, and you can use them. I just wouldn't recommend them for practical games. But yeah, it sucks that Vortex is no longer kind of relevant, and it's really just Nerf's fault. Although I will say this, Dart Zone, or Buzzbee, or X-Shot, if you are watching, I'm going to tag all of you in my description. If you are watching this, you see this? You see this? If you can get away with it, if it's not illegal to copy this design, like you did with, standard darts or megas or rivals, if you could copy this and bring it back, you will earn all of my respect. I mean, you have a lot of respect for me already, but whoever does it, you will be the #1 company for me. You hear me? Bring back Vortex, and you will be the #1 blaster company in my eyes. You hear me? Do it. Do it. And this is another blaster I'm going to have to give the amazing rating to. It's my favorite Vortex blaster. It's my favorite blaster from my favorite ammo type. That's saying a lot. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Nerf Archives. I really hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.